Hi Yogi, it's Bri. In this video, we're going to look at Trikonasana, its misalignments, and how to cue it so that students practice it safely. Trikonasana, or triangle pose, is one of my favorites actually because I like to work on strength and flexibility in one position. And for me, in this pose, I'm working on strength in my legs as well as a bit of stretch in the side body. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you haven't watched the Warrior 2 tutorial, please do so because I really go into detail about these externally rotated standing postures and what the front leg and the back leg is doing and why. Now, let's look first at Trikonasana. Typically, we've got that heel to arch position. I like heel to arch, but if students, working with or struggling with balance, then heel to heel works as well. She comes down into Trikonasana. And since we're talking about the foundation first, one important thing to remember is that a lot of students deal with hyperextension in this front leg knee. And is hyperextension as detrimental as we make it out to be? I mean, plenty of people can live in hyperextension their entire life and be fine. And also some hyperextension in gymnasts occurs and they're fine as well. Muscles are engaged. It's when there's hyperextension coupled with lack of engagement in the quadricep that it becomes really detrimental to the knee as well as an overstretching of the hamstring. So regardless, when I'm cueing this, I like to think about two really important counter cues. The first cue of this set of counter cues is thinking about bending the knee or without bending it, or thinking about really pushing the shin of the front leg forward while you lift the quadricep or while you draw the outer hip back and in. And this push-pull, this argument between the muscles that are below and above the knee joint really help to isometrically engage the muscles that support it. So again, thinking about bending the knee, but the quad's not letting it happen. That looks great. Okay, now the hand position is really up to the practitioner. For Virginie, I know she's dealing with some back body erector quadratus lumborum injuries, so this is probably a good place for her to be. But the lower that she goes, I prefer the hand to the outside of the leg. The more she's going to have to use her core by drawing the ribs and the navel in. And this is actually, does this feel okay on your back? This is actually going to start stretching where she's injured in the back body as long as her core really, really pulls in. And you'll notice too that the back leg, since the front leg is straight, the back leg has less of an issue in the knee and the ankle. And this femur is pretty neutral. There's not much internal or external rotation going on. Let's switch sides. Okay, so the misalignment of the front leg, the position of the hand, and the core engagement is so important. One more time. Now, go ahead and stand up. Some teachers like to teach from this position, the leaning forward, lengthening this bottom side of the body, because what you want is equal length. Then bringing the hand either to the shin, and regardless of where it is, or to the ground, but outside of the foot, regardless of where it is, you want minimal weight in the hands. Now from here, again, press that shin forward as you counter that by lifting the quad and drawing the outer hip in towards the midline. This top arm goes straight up, so there's one long line of energy from the bottom hand up through the top hand. Thinking about pushing this top hand forward as if the air were heavy and broadening across the collarbone of that top arm. Then sealing it in by drawing the ribs and the navel in really starts to get this pose to work. One last piece is if you find students who are really rounded in the bottom side ribs, then you could think about saying, press the top side ribs down into the bottom side ribs, and that will lengthen for them. And that's Trikonasana, triangle pose.